Hey, you guys. Hope you guys are all doing okay. Um, oh my gosh, I'm sorry this has taken me so long. These are just taking me forever to do. And I know that there are some people that are attempting to work along on this project. So I had some oral surgery on Tuesday last week. And honestly, like I just haven't felt good. And if you've ever had a tooth pulled and had dry socket, um, I will tell you this is the second time it's happened to me, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. So if you ever have a tooth pulled, I'm just saying, do exactly what the dentist tells you and don't use a straw or anything, and don't mess around with it with your tongue. I tried as hard as I could. I really did. I tried, but it just happens sometimes. Anyway, so I haven't really done a lot on these. I did work on them a couple days ago, pulled the sewing machine out and did some stitching. So let me just show you, kind of what I've been able to accomplish. So all of these are the envelopes that are going to be inserts. Okay. I did just very simple collage, just glued some paper basically on both sides that were, not with the pattern paper, just, some blank paper mostly. And then I just ran a zigzag stitch right along each side of the center. And that's mostly to prevent things from slipping all the way through. Like if you put papers in there so that they won't slip all the way through to, to the center. And also to kind of keep this part from flipping down, when you pull when you pull it out of the journal. So that'll make more sense later. I'm sure you know what I mean, but so I did that. And then, so I've had to be really careful about when, in what order I'm stitching things. I've also made a couple of changes to the way I'm putting some of the pockets in. So let me just try to kind of catch you guys up to where I am. So I can do the stitching on, okay, hold on. Sorry. I actually do have one put together the way I want it to be. But let me just kind of show you. So this is the front cover. This is what's going to be the very front cover. Okay, so that's a separate piece still at this point. I don't want to do any stitching on this yet. See, I did just a little bit of simple collage on that. This is all going to be kind of hidden. So I don't know, I might put something on here. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, so I just wanted to have this covered and this side covered. I'm going to do something else on the front of this too, though, just saying. But I didn't want to do the stitching on that yet because I need to wait until it's attached to the main cover before I do the stitching. So, and I haven't done any stitching on the main cover yet either because I need to glue these pockets on first. I did a little bit just to kind of save time and also to preserve a little bit of the space in these pockets. I wanted to add a little bit of stitching on these, but I didn't want to go all the way around the edges because I wanted to preserve some of the space. I didn't want to take away from any of the interior space of the pocket, right? But I did want to do a little bit of stitching. So I just ran a little zigzag seam right along here. And I decided that I'm just going to go ahead and put all of the journals together without worrying about covering the backs of all of these before I get these assembled. If I'm going to add anything to it, I can do that after I have the journals put together. Okay. So I just did that because I won't be able to do that after I have the whole thing put together, right? So those need to get done before, the stitching needs to get done on these before they're attached. This is just the independent little envelope that is just going to get tucked into a pocket or maybe paper clipped in or something. I went ahead and just did a zigzag around the whole border on this one because these needed to get stitched on the bottom to close them up again, because remember this pocket was actually cut off of this, of the, you know, this is the top part and this is the bottom. So this was open here. So that needed to get closed up. And I think the best way to close that up is to just do it with the sewing machine rather than glue. Anyway, so I did that because this doesn't really need anything else done to it. So it's basically done, except for I am going to add a magnet and do a little notch on the top of it. And then this is the pages that are going to get attached to the spine. And these, of course, needed to be stitched along the bottom also because same situation, right? But I needed to do that before it got attached to the journal. But I couldn't do the stitching until I had done see, I added some paper on the backs of these also. But I had to do that before I could do my stitching because I wanted the stitching to go over that paper too. I don't like to collage over the stitching, you know. Anyway, so those had to get stitched, and I just did a very thin straight stitch around the whole border of that, or well, 3 sides of it. Okay, these are also going to get magnets. So those I stitched ahead of time. I did the little zigzag down the center of each of these, and then I did these are the pockets that are going to get glued in. I did some machine stitching around those 3 sides of these. Okay, I did cut the notches. A lot of times I like to come in kind of round this off just because I like the way it looks. It makes it a little bit, you know, smoother, and I think it just looks nice. So wherever it's easy for me to do that, I will do that. And I just eyeball it, you know. So I have to be careful when I'm putting these in that the paper's is right side up. Okay. So I hope that's making sense. I have all these piles of just like everything is all rubber banded together. Like I've got all of the pages that are getting glued in. Those are all separated now, and I've done I'm working on doing all of the stitching. I've already covered them all with paper the way I want them. So these are just all ready to get machine stitched now. And then I started working on the sets of the pockets that are going to become like flip out pockets inside the journals. I started doing the stitching on those too. I didn't get all the way through them, but because I wanted to get this video done. Anyway, and then also I need to work on doing all the stitching on these, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so let's put one of these together, and I'm just going to kind of show you how I'm assembling them. Once I get all of my stitching done that needs to get done before assembly, I'm going to get all of that done, and then put them together. And then there's a little bit of stitching that needs to get done after they're assembled. Okay, so I have to make sure I cut I was doing this as I went along before, and then some of them I forgot to cut that bottom off. So I do want to do a little bit of a notch on here, and it's just easier to do now. So I've got different size circle punches because I've got different size envelopes that I would need to notch. So, and I just want to do really small notches. I don't want them to be like really deep. These I did a little bit deeper because I wanted them to be a lot more accessible. Anyway, I'm getting way too detailed. Anyway, so I'm just doing a really small little notch there. And then also on this side. And I want it to be kind of like a wider notch. Like, I like the notches to kind of match the size of the pocket. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's a big pocket, I want it to have a nice kind of large notch. Like, I don't want it to have a little tiny one. You know what I mean? Anyway, okay, so there's that. And then this piece, I've got it scored at 1 inch and then 3/4 of an inch for my spine. So it's scored at 1 inch and then 1 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to cut the corners off of this. And then this is just going to get glued in right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And I had somebody comment about these little glue bottles and how I was complaining that mine was like oozing glue out. And I forgot who it was that left the comment, but exactly what you said, that you have to make sure that that you clean off the threading, like on the inside of your cap and also on the outside of your bottle. You can't have any glue on there or else it will leak. So, and you get that glue that just starts oozing out. Anyway, so this is Art Glitter Glue. I just have it in this little tiny bottle. So this is going to get glued in, and then I'll show you what kind of stitching I'm doing on it, on the cover. I'm going to let this dry before I do the stitching on this one though. Okay, so see, that just lines up really nicely right there on that edge. So it's like a trifold type of deal. Okay, so that's got to dry. And then once it's dry, and before, well, I really actually need to do the stitching on that because I need to do that before I glue this page in. So, oh, you know what? I think I can do it because I'm not stitching where there's wet glue on here. So let me just grab my sewing machine. Whoops. Did I stop that video? No. Okay. I'm using the heavy duty Singer machine because my Brother machine is not feeling very good at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to run a straight stitch really close to the edge of this cover along the top and bottom and around that. Let me just do it real quick and then I'll show you. Oh, you know what? Dang it. I have to do it on the other side. Hold on. Yeah, I have to do it on the front. And of course my bobbin ran out. Okay, let's fill the bobbin. Oh my God. Well, you guys don't care, right? So, bobbin filling 101. I use refillable bobbins on this machine. Some of you may know that on my Brother machine, I use the pre-filled bobbins. Just because they fit on that machine. This one takes bigger bobbins. It's a different style of bobbin, so I have to fill them. And I don't want to buy other pre-filled bobbins for this machine. Gosh, this thing is dusty. All right. That was fun, huh? A lot of times I'll just, when I know that I'm going to be doing a lot of stitching, I'll just fill 4 or 5 bobbins so I don't have to stop. This machine doesn't have an automatic threader, so that's kind of a pain, but oh my God. Okay. Okay. Now I can finish this. Wow, one day Jessica's going to learn how to edit videos. Oops. Okay. Kind of messy. That's okay. All right. So I just did a real narrow stitch along the top, around this side, around, you know, 3 sides of the outside flap, and then along the bottom. Okay, so that's basically all the stitching that I'm doing on the cover. And then I'm gonna put the I'm gonna put these pages in. So back a month ago when I started this project, I talked about where to score this and stuff, so you might need to go back and look at that if you're just now kind of joining in on this little party. But anyway, so this is going to get glued in to this spine. So I can glue it in now because I've got all the stitching done on it that needs to get done. Trying to make sure I get my glue right up to the edges on this. I am gonna stitch this also, and I'm going to put some eyelets in this spine, so it's gonna stay, like it's not gonna go anywhere once everything's all said and done. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm not only relying on the glue to keep this in place, but I do want it to be, I want to make sure that it's, you know, still gonna close okay, and make sure it's lined up just right. Don't want any air bubbles in there. Okay, and it is going over that stitching a little bit on the top and bottom, so I just want to make sure that that's really well pressed down. Okay, and then I want to make sure that my pages will fold nicely. Don't have a bunch of glue sticking out or oozing out. Okay, so that's that. And then I want to put these pockets on. Okay, so these are also going to be glued over the stitching just a little bit. Now, see, I've got the little, what do they call that? The gussets already attached onto the pocket. So then this is just that, and then I'm just going to glue this down on the inside of that little gusset, because that gives us a little bit of it gives you the ability to kind of open this pocket a little bit more if you just run your glue right along the inside of the sides here rather than extending your glue all the way out to the edges. That's the whole point to having it gusseted, right? Okay, so that one's done. Now this one, I want to make sure that my flap covers that notch. Okay, so I kind of have to be careful where I place this one, because I don't want my notch to come out from under the flap. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to place that, I'm going to put it down, make sure that it does cover it before I let that go. Okay. Is it straight? Looks pretty straight. So you just want to add your glue right on the inside edge of that that little hinge. Okay. So that your pocket will still open just a little bit. Okay. There. So that's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the, I've been hanging on to these. These are the pieces that were glued on to the original envelope that I ripped off in the beginning. I'm just kind of making sure that there's no like loose paper. Because I want to make sure that this glues down really nice. So I'm going to add a generous amount of glue. And then I want to make sure that it's lined up nicely with this part. And glue is going to ooze out from under it. I just really want to make sure, since that's the only thing that's holding that on there is glue, I need to make sure that it's really, really well secured. And then I'm just taking my little awl just to make sure that I didn't glue the two pieces together. Okay. So I'll let that dry without messing with it for a minute. Okay, and then these three little pockets have been, they've been driving me crazy. I was going to do them like this and have all three of them on this flap, but it doesn't work because when you glue this down, it's okay with 2, but to do all 3 of them right here, you wind up having to kind of stagger them a little bit. Otherwise, this one and this one won't lay flat when you open it. Like, it's hard to explain, but because you wind up with this thickness, the thickness from just the paper stacking on top of itself, you know, you wouldn't be able to glue them perfectly on top of each other in line and still be able to open this. It winds up only opening like that far, and then it starts pulling on the paper, and it won't lay flat, and that kind of bugged me. So I'm not doing that. I decided to move one of them to here. Okay, so I'm moving the middle-sized one, the medium one, to this position on the cover. Okay, so but these 2 will work just fine. 2 of them is fine, especially if one of them is the smaller one. So so let me just glue this one down. Actually, I want to notch this first. So I'm using a smaller circle punch to notch these envelopes. Just a little notch. Okay. So this one, see, I've already got my little hinge on there. And when you add your hinges onto these, you really want to try to get it right up to the edge. That helps with the issue that I was talking about. Okay, and then this has to be ever so slightly to the right of where this bends, in order for it to still have enough space to fully close up, and so that when you open your journal, you can lay this flat. So you want to open it up, lay it flat, and then really press now if you wanted to do this with fabric, you probably wouldn't have as much of an issue with this, but you kind of need to lay it flat before you really burnish this down, because it's going to tell you where it needs to be. It'll make sense when you start doing it yourself. You'll know what I'm talking about. You kind of want to let it guide you. So I forgot. Dang it, I forgot. Some of this needs to get trimmed off. The bottom of this one. I forgot I needed to do that before I started gluing it. Okay, so see how it won't lay flat when you open it. So you really kind of need to like force it flat and then burnish it. And that little bit of moisture in the glue kind of helps the paper to stretch gently to allow it to kind of stretch basically without tearing the paper. Okay, so just make sure that you have good movement on your pockets. Okay, so those are glued down, and then the last one I'm going to put on the second front cover, you know, like the inside front cover. Again, I want to make sure that this will lay flat when I burnish it down. Okay. And just a little bit of moisture in the glue kind of softens the paper a little bit. Also using a damp cloth to kind of soften that paper a little bit. It really helps. Okay, so that's that. So this is my insert that's going to be situated in between these pages. This will be removable. And then this little pocket, I'll just tuck it into here, or it's possible that I will make another, well, I want to make a journal insert to put in this also, just like a little notebook. So I might just paper clip this one into that little journal, you know, excuse me. Okay, so these pieces are loose. Now the only other thing I need to do with the sewing machine is run a stitch down down both sides of this, but I want to wait for this to dry first. So that's what's holding these pages in. So you wind up with a stitch along that spine of your journal. I might also, I'm not 100% sure, but I want to do something on the spine here also, like, I don't know, maybe just like a strip of ledger paper or something. I have a whole bunch of these little, like, just strips of pattern paper that are just left over from, you know, when I was cutting all these pieces. So I'd like to use those if I can. Okay, so then the only other thing that needs to really get attached on here is going to be the elastic, okay, that'll hold the inserts in, okay, and also the there's a little flap that's gonna, it's actually like a little, just like a little piece that's gonna come around to hold these down. Because, so here's how it's going to be. So it's going to be like this, right? It'll be all closed up. Still haven't decided what I'm going to do for an actual closure. I think it's going to be, I kind of am leaning towards just using like some sari silk maybe, or something like that. I have a bunch of sari silk, so I thought that might just be pretty to do that. Of course, I have to do some kind of charm on here because that's just what I do. So I might actually wind up doing that on the spine, or maybe on this spine here. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. But so see how it opens? Like I don't want it to open like that, right? I want these pockets to open as one with that front cover, okay? This I'm going to do a magnet to hold it down. I might even add one of these little guys, one of these little, just these little paper bags somewhere inside these, like maybe there or something. I don't know, but I have a bunch of them over there. I might use one or two. Anyway, so what I'm going to do on this is, let me just show you. This is my idea. I think I talked about it before. I also still have a bunch of pieces of craft paper that I would like to use. So I was thinking I'd do a piece like that, and then just take a piece of pattern paper, glue it on there. Hang on, it doesn't need to be that wide. Well, I don't want to cut it yet. Hold on. don't cut it yet. So I'm just going to glue some of this pattern paper on here. I think this is what I'm going to do with this. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this is what I'm going to do. Don't know how long it needs to be. It might be kind of cool to do it all the way over there. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't need to be really wide. I think it only needs to be maybe about like that. Okay, so probably gonna stitch a little seam, just a little thin straight stitch. So what I'll probably do is take, you know, cut a bunch of pieces of this craft paper, you know, as wide as I want them to be, and just glue this on in longer strips. Okay, so then all I have to do is just cut a piece off to use for my little hinge part, so I don't have to like assemble this every time. Anyway, so then this is just going to, I think I'm going to use, I'll probably just glue it on, but I'm also going to put an eyelet through it. So it'll basically go like that with an eyelet, and then it has to be at the right spot though before I put the eyelet in and stuff, right? So I want it to be about there. That might be too wide. Hold on. So just maybe like that. And I think it would be kind of cool to actually kind of round those off a little bit. So it's almost like just kind of round those corners a little bit. You know, I think that looks cool. Maybe even a little bit more, you know. Anyway, details. And then just use a magnet to hold this down. And that way, you know, all of these will just move as one. And then this is going to get string. This will have a magnet. I need to notch all these envelopes. This will have a magnet. This little pocket is going to have a magnet. And this will have a magnet. Lots of magnets. I love magnets. So, and then this one, I will probably use a magnet on there. I like those little, maybe I'll do a little, I don't know, you know, those little things that you put on with an eyelet, and then it's just like a little piece that spins, and it kind of just like locks it down. You know what I mean? I don't know what you would call that, but that might look kind of cool on here. But I don't really think I can do that, and because like if you have something in the pocket, that might interfere with it. So anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. But yeah, so that's basically how these are going to go together. And yeah, so I don't know. I think they're pretty cool. And then so then that leaves the backs of all of these to potentially add, you know, add some stuff on those. And then you know, these are done. But you know, like this needs something, and then these need something. So I've got just tons of ephemera stuff that I just want to kind of decorate all of these with. And like I said before, a bunch of like the Tim Holtz ephemera pieces, you know, that I've just been buying them because they've been on sale. And I mean, I know I don't need to justify why I buy things, but I kind of have bought a lot of them. And I actually ordered some of his new stuff, like the new 2021 stuff too, that hasn't arrived yet. It was like a pre-order, so I don't know when that stuff's going to come. It would be really great if it would come before these are done. Maybe I could use some elements from that in these. But anyway, so that's the little pocketbooks, and I'm pretty sure, you know, like I said, I might add something along this little spine or something too. I don't know, maybe some book page or something. And the back, I guess I'm just leaving the back on. I don't know. Maybe I'll put another pocket on the back. I don't know. Maybe I'll put, maybe I could put this little pocket on the back or something. You know, that could be kind of cool. We'll see. Or, oh, you know what? Sorry, I know. What I was thinking, this is what I was thinking, was to use, remember how this whole thing started, where I had this little envelope and I was like super inspired by it. This is kind of what started this whole thing. So I started altering some envelopes and doing this collage piece and gluing it on there. That might be kind of cool to put on the back. I don't know, or something somewhere. Who knows? We'll just see what happens. Anyway, okay, so that's it. All right. If you guys have any questions, send me an email or leave it in the comments. I'm trying to answer questions and comments as much as I can. I am feeling better, like my mouth is feeling better, but I have more tooth stuff coming up next month on the 20th. So I'll probably be out of it for a while. So I really want to try to get these done before then. And also some other like hardcover journals. I was thinking about maybe trying to do those other encyclopedias, those green ones that I showed you guys during my book sale. But anyway, and some exciting stuff coming up with Louise from Forever French. She's making a kit for you guys. She's making a bundle for you guys, special for my subscribers. So keep your eyes out for that. She's gonna make a bundle and she's gonna send me one of them, and then she'll have them in her Etsy shop, and we've got some really cool stuff worked out. So it's gonna be fun. It's like a collaboration sort of thing with Louise. So special for my subbies. So anyway, I love you guys, and hope you're all doing okay, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye for now.